7:13, welcome back to Good Day Columbia. You know, the world of craft beer, the microbreweries that are a real passion for true beer lovers, has changed over the last 6 years here in South Carolina. In fact, you might remember as little as just 6 years ago, it was tough to even find a craft beer above Food and Fuel. Well, times, they have changed, and for the 6th year in a row, the world, or at least the world of beer lovers, descend on Columbia for a day of hops, barley, and recipes. Of course, we're talking about the World Beer Festival happening this weekend. From All About Beer magazine, Daniel Ackerman. No, Daniel. Joseph.
Daniel Bradford and Joseph Ackerman.
Daniel and Joseph. There you go. And from our very own microbrewery here in town, Conquest, Joseph Ackerman. Gotcha. All these names, I sell this beer, I'm excited. So World Beer Fest, man, number 6.
Yes. I remember the first time I came to Columbia. I'm not sure what brought me here, but I fell in love with the town.
Right.
And I met a couple of the home brewers and some retailers and some suppliers and realized this was about ready to explode. And I've been putting on beer festivals for 35 years, and I know one of the things a beer festival does, it brings all the beer lovers together into one room, and next thing you know, breweries start opening.
just like that. It's like Conquest, like I said, the little microbrewery. It's funny because for some reason I've come to know several brewers here in town, who, as a hobby, some do it as a, as a business, like Conquest. But really, what goes into the beer? Because it's more than just popping open a favorite red can and putting it back. That's for sure, right?
Well, what we have here, Daniel actually brought these. These are the hops that you can use in different beers. And then the different malts. And some of these malts we actually use in some of the beers that we're going to try here this morning. But the hops are where the bitterness is going to come from. The malt is where the sugar comes from. That's what creates the alcohol.
You have Centennials in one of yours?
Yeah, this hop here,
Would you open it up and take a...
Now, where do you grow hops? Where do they come from?
Well, they're mostly come from the Pacific Northwest. Most American hops. You don't want to taste it. It's very bitter.
Yeah.
You don't want to taste it.
It's like a little. Can I pull it out there and take a look at it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. It's like a little rabbit pellet. You can kind of see what they are here and take that shot. If you
now those have been pulverized and pelletized because the actual hop flowers, they look like little pine cones almost, little green ones. But we get a lot better utilization if we use pellets because the entire flower has been ruptured, and so we get all the insides, all the good stuff out of it if we use them in that form.
Okay.
But
how long does it take when you go from from the ingredients to brew a good can of beer or bottle of beer, I guess?
Well, it takes, it depends on the style. Lagers are actually aged longer at a colder temperature, but generally about a month for most ales. From the time that we brew it to the time that it's in the keg and ready to go is about a month.
And it really is, it's a passion, isn't it? I mean, obviously you've been doing it for 30 years, putting on beer festivals, but really the guys who do it really is a passion and a lifestyle. It's more than just going, hey man, let's get loaded on Tuesday.
I noticed that it's, South Carolina Food Week?
Yes, Restaurant Week.
This is, most of the people who love this do it just like a good chef.
Right.
It's a passion for the culinary aesthetics. The aroma, the texture, the flavor, the mouthfeel. Once you see these glasses that we have here, they're each designed to present a different aesthetic of the beer.
Very much like you would a wine glass then, because you have different, the white and red, and you can get the brandy and different things.
Beer is much more complex than wine.
I have been schooled today.
It is much more complex.
I have been schooled.
Yeah.
Well, the simple fact is, in wine, you have one ingredient. You've grapes. I mean, you may use a different yeast strain.
Right.
But you're essentially making grapes into fermented beverage. This has both malts and hops, and then also the yeast strain can all change the flavor completely as to what the final beer comes out being. And there's hundreds of hops and hundreds of malts that we have to choose from.
Different things you can give a little flavor here and there.
We just have a massive array of things that we can use to make different flavors in the final product. So
each of these hops presents a different finish or a different aroma. Like there's one in there that's very much lemony. There's another that's got sort of a classic piney finish. Spicy, herbal,
it really
earthy.
is a science, and it's not just cracking open that that light beer. We're going to take a break, guys. Come back. We're going to taste some of the Conquest also, and then get some real details on the World Beer Festival. A lot of fun. If you've never been to the beer festival, it is a very cool experience for sure. We're going to talk all about it here in a few minutes. Plus, Garrett Biedenbaugh, yes, the Midland's blondest weatherman, will be with us when we come right back. Welcome back to Brew Talk here on Good Day Columbia, talking about the art that really is the recipes and the art and the passion that goes into craft beer. brewing your own beer in the World Beer Festival happening this weekend at the Columbia Convention Center. If you've not been, it's 2 floors full of 150 home brewers. I say home brewers, but I mean, that's probably where it all starts. Joseph Ackerman from Conquest and Daniel Bradford.
All About Beer Magazine.
There you go. I got it. I guess you got your names right this time.
Right.
So we're going to talk about the beer festival in a second, but just real quick, you have me interested in this. I'm not a huge beer drinker. I'm a wine drinker, but not a huge beer drinker. But really, I like the flavor of it.
Well, I brought a couple of offerings here today. This first one, if I can get the top off here. This is our Sacred Heart IPA. This is IPA stands for India Pale Ale. It's from the name harkens back to when England was shipping beer over to India. It's a little hoppier than a traditional pale ale, which is a little more bitter. This one uses a relatively new hop, Belma, and it also uses some classic hops, Centennial and Warrior. But it's got a lot of grape fruitiness.
Yeah, that's not very stout. I'm not stout. I don't know what the word I'm looking for.
Well, it's not super bitter. It's what we call an East Coast IPA, which is more like Ranger, Bell's Two Hearted, that sort of thing. We also brew a West Coast IPA called Warrior Heart, which is much more towards the bitter side of things. So we brew 2 different styles of IPA, but this is our flagship. This is the one that probably half of our total volume in beer goes into that one beer.
As you're pouring this one, Daniel, let's talk about the beer festival happening on Saturday. 2 sessions.
Yes. Noon to 4 and 6 to 10.
Okay.
Tickets are still available. Morganelli's, all of the Greens, World of Beer. It's been really exciting having this festival here in Columbia. We do several festivals around the country, and this is one of our favorites because the enthusiasm for craft beer here is just exploding.
Well, people love it. There is no doubt they absolutely love it. And the beer festival is cool. There's 150 brewers come in. You can taste test, decide on a beer. You've always got a little magazine and a map so you can take notes. That's the cool thing I like about that.
The guide here will be literally a guide to beer. You can use it to go around and taste, check different beers, compare one against the other. It's kind of fun that we have a lot of groups that go.
Right.
And it's fun to go through the hall and see a group of 5 or 6 people with their guides pointing and comparing.
And trying and really finding that one. And sometimes it'll come down to that 1 or 2 beers you really love, and you go out and you can find it later
And
on.
something surprising about the World Beer Festival, half of the attendees are women.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of women craft their own beer, or do they just enjoy the craft beer, you think?
Well, like you just said, this is an aesthetic experience.
Right.
Okay, and I think that women enjoy that, like cooking, the aroma, the flavors, and that's what we talk about with them. I mean, you said you enjoy wine. I noticed that you picked it up and looked at the clarity first, and then you went right to your nose, right? And then, you did a wine slosh around. So yeah, that's the art of beer.
Sure. We have just a few seconds left.
Let's mention this real quick. This is actually one that we brewed in collaboration with All About Beer Magazine. They developed the recipe with us. We just call it Beer Fest beer. It's a traditional porter, and we're actually doing 2 treatments that people at World of Beer last week voted on. We're doing one version that's chocolate cherry, and we're doing another version that is coffee vanilla, and then we'll also have the original beer for people to be able to try.
And those are examples of the grains that went into the porter.
All right, Joseph from Conquest Brewery here in town, Daniel from All About Beer Magazine and the World Beer Festival this weekend. Details for you at watch.com. Tickets still available for each of the shows. There's 2 different sessions. Certainly a good time, even if you're not sure about beer. Learn, experience it. It's a really cool world to be involved in. Guys, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you. Good fun.
Stay with us. We got a lot more Good Day Columbia on the way. We've got the beer down. Now it's time to try a little food. After all, it is Restaurant Week here in Columbia. Stay with us. 7:29.
Fantabulous.
Just like that, fellas. Nice work.
You haven't tried the porter yet.
I haven't yet.
Ryan, you want to come try this? You want to try this?
Oh, what a